Welcome back to the Franciscan Hermitage as we celebrate today a very special day. It happens to be my birthday. People ask me, how old are you? And I tell them, well, I was born in 35, and so I'm a man of 35 and will be until I die. And I add, I'm a priest, I don't lie. Well, as we get into the fifth week of Lent, you know, in the first reading, and God said, I am starting something new. And, you know, what is new is described very beautifully in the gospel, where the leadership in the Jewish community were all concerned about the sin. So they brought this woman who was caught in adultery and said, you know, the law says we're supposed to stone her. Well, you know, Jesus looked into this woman and saw she was looking for love, but just moving in the wrong direction, that's all. And so when he told them, well, the one that's without sin, throw the first stone. And then they left one by one. And then at the very end, Jesus says, did no one condemn you? And she said, no. And he said, well, I'm not going to condemn you either. That's the newness that was spoken about by Isaiah. We're going to be concentrating on love, not on the sin. And you know, my dear friends, if you look at the second reading, Paul is making it very clear. You know, he says, I'm on the way to becoming the perfect lover. But he said, please note that I'm not there yet. He says, I look ahead to where I will be able to accomplish this goal. And that's where you and I are. But you know, my dear friends, there are so many wonderful examples at this particular time that are coming from so many different corners of the world. I saw an interview on the internet, an interview with a couple that moved out of the Ukraine. Miraculously, this man, with his wife and children and his parents, made it out of the Ukraine and were then given a home with Ukrainian-speaking families here in the United States. So they were interviewing him about all the difficulties and the terror that he had experienced. At the very end of the interview, they said, if you could talk to all the Ukrainian people right now, what would you tell them? And he said, do not hate the Russians. The implication was, if you hate the Russians, you're doing exactly what they're doing. What a fabulous example. And you know, my dear friends, that's our challenge. Remember, there's only one law, the law of love. And so I'm going to be asking you this week, as we get closer and closer to Easter, see how frequently and how often you can say, I love you, to as many people as you can. That's our job. It's not easy, especially when you find some people who are making life very difficult for you. And I have a friend whose son was abused by a priest, and the suffering they went through for the past 30 years is horrendous. And they just finished the court case. But when I got this email from the mother, she was saying, thank God it's all over with. But she says, now begins the healing. That's where you have to be able to say, I love you, even though there has been a great deal of trauma. That's what Christian means. My dear friends, please remember, you are an expression of the divine, cosmic, unconditional love energy that has created and sustained the whole world. The essence of who you are is love. But our job is to make that love visible. So find out how frequently you can say I love you between now and Easter. And you'll find out, as you start getting into the habit of doing this, you're going to start feeling the divine presence in a very powerful and real way. And you will help to change our world and move us closer to world peace. You can do this. You are a powerful spiritual being, and your love makes the difference. And besides, it's fun. God bless you all.